Hi there, it's Sandy Uziak. I'm with Remax Results, and I'm here today with Katie Hanna of Details Matter Bookkeeping. Katie is my Realtor Spotlight this month, and she's going to tell us a little bit about her business, what she focuses on, and some common things that she sees. So, Katie, thank you for coming today.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be here.
Katie and I actually have known each other for a short while, but also we work together with the Elder Service Provider Council. So I've been able to experience firsthand how you work, and it's been a wonderful experience. So Katie focuses on small business bookkeeping and advisory services.
Yep.
So can you tell us a little bit about Details Matter Bookkeeping and
Sure.
everything you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually took over the business from my mom. So she was the bookkeeper before me, so I can't take any credit for the Details Matter, though it is an amazing business name.
It is a good name. I love it. I was thinking about that this morning as I was making my breakfast and having my coffee. I'm like, it is such a good name.
It's the perfect name. So I can't take credit. She made that up, but it's perfect for what we do because that's really the basis of bookkeeping, right? It's all about it's more so about organizing and keeping all of dotting the I's and crossing the T's, even more so than math, right? It's a lot more of the categorizing and organizing. So so I took it over from her, and I've just been building it up over the years. I worked at a CPA firm for a couple years as I was getting my certified bookkeeper license, which is not required in the industry. Unfortunately, there are no requirements. But it is a higher level of learning, right?
Yeah.
It is a license that I have to hold, and I have to get continuing education, same as you to keep your license. So so that does help. That does make a difference.
Yes.
So while I was doing that, I worked at a CPA firm to get some experience. I was an admin for them, and then I became a bookkeeper. Eventually went part-time, did some of my mom's clients, some of theirs, and then they got bought out by a big CPA company, and so they laid off all of their office staff, part-timers, and everything. So that was the kick in the butt to go off on my own, do my own thing. So
and so a lot of your businesses now that your clients that you handle are small businesses?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say small. I mean, the sad thing is, and I was just talking to somebody about this yesterday, if you look at the Small Business Association, a small business is anything under 500 employees.
Right.
So I deal with some that we as small business owners may consider larger, but, still under that, and certainly not at the 500 employee level. Very good, though. But anybody sort of, from very small solopreneurs up to, somewhere in the like single digit millions, right? Which sounds like a lot, but I think we all know that making $1 million gross doesn't mean $1 million that you're taking home. That's not as big of a business as it might sound.
Right. And I like the fact that you have a portal. I imagine there's issues with communication, right? People need to provide you with the information, and sometimes they do or don't. So tell everybody about that portal.
Yeah. So we've embraced technology. I mean, really, since COVID, everything has gone virtual. My entire business is run virtually. My staff are all remote. And so we've had to keep up with those times to be able to pass information. But again, we're also dealing with sensitive, financial data. So, you it can't just send things through email either. Not everything, certainly. So we have a secure client portal. That's part of our software. We have a software that's specifically for bookkeepers, that it also helps us with keeping all of our tasks to make sure that things are getting done, holding all the files like your bank statements and payroll returns and all those kinds of things. But what the best thing about it, and I say to people all the time, is that it's not like a pain in the butt portal to get into. It's like a magic link. So you've experienced it, where it just kind of sends you an email. You click the click the link and it opens up.
It is. It's very
much, I think we're all so
user-friendly.
sick of the doctor's office portals that are like, it asks you 16 million questions to get in.
Right. Very
and
true.
this is just kind of a one and done,
Yeah, because in the beginning I was making it harder than it was. I thought it was going to be like, okay, where's my link? But it was just like that one quick email and you're right in.
Yeah.
So that makes it very convenient. So what do you see as people's biggest problems that you need to straighten out in the course of managing their books?
Yeah, there are some big ones. So for small business owners, especially people just starting out, or solopreneurs especially, the number one thing that people do is mixing their business and personal stuff, right?
True.
Not
Very
either
true.
not having a separate business checking, or even if they do have a business checking, they're still charging groceries and stuff through there.
Isn't that crazy? Because that's like one thing I will pat myself on the back on, that I didn't do that. That just drives me bananas. Like, you have to go through your statement every month. Oh, that's personal, that's business, that's so. But people do it.
Yeah, they do.
And because we don't know, nobody teaches you how to be a self entrepreneur.
Yeah, that's the
And
big
that's
thing.
a big one.
Yeah, that's the big thing. So that's number one. And honestly, it's more of a sort of legal liability issue than it is a bookkeeping. But certainly by the time I get it, if I have to sort through it, I'm gonna have to be putting 8 million questions up in the portal. What is this? Because I'll have to ask on every single item, what is this?
Right.
As opposed to assuming that it's a business expense and just being able to categorize it as is.
Right.
So if you have an LLC, it can invalidate that LLC. So the LLC is to separate yourself from the business, right? To say this is business stuff, this is personal stuff. Well, if it's all mixed together, they'll be like, well, you're not separate.
Right.
Right? Like, it's all mixed. So
Right.
we're just going to go after all of you. Like, if you were sued or...
Yeah, I was just going to say.
And same for an audit. If the
tax-
IRS audited you, they'd be like, well, everything's mixed, so we're now going to look at every single transaction and question, was this really a business transaction? So that's the bigger problem than, obviously it's annoying to try and sift through it all. But the biggest problem is that can be a big red flag.
Sure. So how does a person know when they need a bookkeeper? Like, I imagine some people are like, I hate it, I don't want to do it, here you go. But some people want to hold on to that and keep control and charge. So,
I think you start to feel it as a business owner. I mean, I certainly have, because I've gone from solopreneur just by myself, my little group of clients, to now I have 8 staff. So that's a massive change,
That's
not
huge.
just in the business, like in the day-to-day of the business, but it's a mindset shift, right? And I think once you start getting, even if you don't have employees, but you start getting busier, you start to realize that you've got to get some stuff off of your plate, that your time is valuable, and that there are things that only you can do, right? And most of those things are revenue generating, right? They're going out and making sales, they're networking, they're business development.
Right.
That, your face is the face of the company.
Right.
And so once you kind of get to that and you're really getting serious about growing and scaling the business, you want to be, getting as much off your plate. And typically bookkeeping's one of the first things that people are,
I would
they're
think
not too, upset about getting rid of it. And certainly we're still providing monthly statements, and again, I have advisory services where I can really deep dive and get down into the nitty gritty with people.
Okay.
So, you're still involved. You're just not doing the, daily or, we do it monthly usually, but monthly tasks of actually going in and categorizing and organizing everything. And we're probably doing a better job because we know more about what's deductible, what's not, you know what I mean? Again, I have to keep up with the changes in tax laws and everything about, our meals 100% or 50% this year. Or which one,
'Cause that changes, doesn't it?
It changes, and COVID changed a bunch of stuff, and then it's been back, and now we've changed political, whatever, and so things will change again. So it's constantly shifting.
It's constant. And how
The one year they changed the mileage deduction halfway through the year.
Oh my God! Really?
It's half a year on one chain, whatever it was, and then half a year on another one.
Right. That's crazy.
Wild.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just not my forte, right? My forte is real estate. That's what I do. So,
and you have to keep up with the market and what's going on there. You just don't have the brain power.
We can't do everything for our business. It makes total sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get your experts behind you, right? You're going to have other people. You're going to have, more of a tax expert, because we do everything except for tax. So we let the CPAs do tax and tax planning, but we know enough to be able to get you to the point where that's all they really need to do. They can look at your books and be able to say, hey, this is what I think
it's ready
you
for
need.
them to do it.
Yeah, so they can do that, straight strategy.
Right.
Yeah.
And can you tell everybody a little, like, in general terms, what type of clients do you have in service?
Yeah, so I have a range of things. So I don't necessarily niche down into like industry specific, though I do have 4 groups that I do have quite a few of and that we really enjoy working with. And those would be trades, so your plumbers, electricians, all of those people. Creatives, so anybody that's in the web design, photography, even hairstylists, people that have that left brain versus right brain, right? And what I find a lot of times is that they are, even if they're capable of doing their numbers, most of them are like, ew, numbers, please don't make me look at them. But even if they are capable, the motivation is so low.
Right. Some people, absolutely.
That it's like it's waiting till the last to get, and so usually it's just such a relief to just not even have to worry about it.
Good.
But I mean, same for trades and creatives is, you got into the business to do what you do, right? You can be a master plumber, but accounting was not part of plumber school, right? It's not part of trade school.
Right.
So, those are people that I really feel like we help. Also restaurants, bakeries, cafes, things like that, and real estate. That's one of my other specialties, because I just have a lot of real estate. And then I think it also kind of goes in with the trades, because some of the trades are like contractors who might have, fix and flip kind of deals or investment properties. So all of that kind of situation.
Yeah, so you just kind of run the gamut.
They come to me and
it's
it
all
always
numbers.
Yes. At the end of the day, right, and a lot of things are, you're either sort of a retail, a manufacturing, or a service business, and the books at their core kind of follow those. So it doesn't matter whether the service you provide is consulting or bookkeeping services or whatever. At the end of the day, you provide a service, you have some expenses that go into that, and then obviously things like staff or what, So,
excellent.
We make those work. And then we can really work with businesses anywhere from just kind of small and just need the basics done, right? They just need the bookkeeping to get done, accounting to get done, and bookkeeping and accounting you can kind of interchange. All the way up to larger, still again under small business, but larger businesses that are certainly not at the corporate level where they're ready to hire like an accounting department in-house, but we can function as that like corporate accounting department. We can do accounts payable, so paying their bills, accounts receivable, so invoicing their clients, like again for service businesses. If they send us work orders or contracts or whatever, we can create invoices and send those out. And we even have like an accounting at sandy.com or whatever, right? Or Remax the address. And so it's almost like white labeled, because, if we were, a customer says, hey, I lost my invoice, can you resend? And so we respond from accounting at your business. And so they don't know that you've outsourced, right? They think that this is, part of your business. And so we manage all, it also cleans up the owner or whoever is in charge, right? The operations manager maybe cleans up their inbox, because they don't get the constant, hey, can you send me a statement? I need your W-9. I need this information, unless it's an actual question, why is my bill this much? We'll pass that on, but everything else a lot of stuff that we can handle.
I think that's fantastic, and you're a very organized person, and you're easy
Yes.
to work with.
You
and
have
you're
to be.
fun. So
Yeah, my Instagram handle is not your typical bookkeeper. So that's
Right.
kind of, you know, I've got the tattoos, I've got the kind of green, which is now kind of tealish hair.
it's good.
You
It's all
know, because
But we
yeah,
all-
you don't have to be this like stuffy, you know, accountant. We're over that.
I
Those
think
are
I think as
the 80s.
yes, and I think as entrepreneurs, we need to understand that we do need help. And so whatever that is, it allows us to get something off of our plate so that we can focus more on what our main, you know, industry is.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. I think that was a lot of information, and I think, you know, from personal experience, I know that Details Matter is, you know, a great option for anybody that's, you know, wants to either start at the very beginning just with some fundamentals, or as you grow, they're going to grow with you. So,
Yeah.
so Details Matter. Katie Hanna, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Bye.